Okay. Yeah. So what we are doing is, so this is what we have seen in the last class. Okay. So I said you about all the data types and numeric data types and non-numeric data types. Numeric data types we have seen like integer, float, complex, and non-numeric data types are like Boolean, none, and one more is a string. Now let us talk about input and output statements or functions. So let us talk about input and output statements or functions. See, every program required to read the data and print the data. So you try to perform two operations. One is input operation and one more is output operation. Every program required. See, because if you are working in ideally, I said ideally is REPL. REPL is nothing but read, evaluate, and print. I don't require to use print here. I don't require to use print here. If I'm saying print 10 means 10 will be printed. If I say print 20 means 20 will be printed. If I say 10 plus 20 means the result 30 is printed. But are you using any print here? No. Because your ideally itself print data. Your ideally itself is print data. So you don't require to use any statement called which one? Print. You don't require to use any statement called print here. So because this itself is print. But if I'm writing a program, how you write a program? Go to file and write a program here. If I'm saying in my program 10, and if I run this program, will it print 10? No, it will not print 10. If I run this, will it print 10? So run the module. Now is it print 10 here? No. Because inside the program, if your program want to print something on a console, if your program want to print something on a console or on the monitor, you have to use one statement called which one? Print. Okay, you have to use one statement called which one here? Print. So until unless you don't use print function, so it will not print data on the console. So print is a predefined function. Now, first we'll talk about which statement, output statement. This is called as output statement, or it is called as output function. It is an output statement. The same thing you can call it as output function. So print, print function. This you can call it as print function or statement. There is a print function or statement. So print is a predefined function. So print is a predefined function in Python. So when I'm saying it is a predefined, okay, this function is exist in, okay, which module here? Built-ins module. So it is a default module. It is a default module imported by any Python program. Is a default module. This function is exist in built-ins module, and it is a default module imported by any Python program. Is a default module imported by any Python program. Built-ins module is a default module. It's a default module imported by any Python program. This function is used. This function is used to display or print data or information, print data or information on which one standard output device. Okay, standard output device, or generally you'll say print data or information on console. Okay, console, or the same thing you can call it as monitor. Okay, this function is used to display or print data or information on console or on monitor. Okay. So this function is required just here. This function required, or this function is having, okay, this function is having some five components. Five components are there. So the first one is this function required values. This function required values, and this function required separator, and this function required end, and this function is having a file, and this function is having flush. If you see the syntax of this print function, now print function is having how many components? Five components or five inputs. I can say how many inputs you can give to the print function. Five inputs. The first one is values, and second one is separator. Third one is end. Fourth one is a file, and fifth one is a flush. So how many inputs I can give it to the print function? Five inputs. How many inputs I can give it to the print function? Five inputs. I can give it to the print function. Five inputs. Okay. So what is the first input I can give? Values. What is the second input I can give? Separator. What is the third input I can give? END. What is the fourth input I can give? File. What is the fifth input I can give? Flush. So the number of inputs I can give is five inputs: values, separator, END, file, and one more is a flush. If you see it, for example, if you want to see anything about any function, you can use help. Help of which function here? Print function. Now you can see print function, help on built-in function, print in module, which module it is available in built-ins module. And print function is having value. So here value, and one more is what? Separator, and third one is what? END, and fourth one is what? File, and fifth one is what? Flush. So print function takes this many number of things. And if you see this print function, print the values to a stream or sys.std out by default. So these are optional keyword arguments. See, these are called as which one? Arguments. Whatever input you are giving to the function, all those are called as which one here? Arguments. How many inputs I can give it to the print function? Five. So how many arguments print function is having? Five arguments. That is file, separator, END. Okay, value, separator, END, file, and one more is what? Flush. So print the values to the stream or sys.std out by default. So there is optional keywords here. There is optional keywords, and there is a keyword called file. There's a keyword called separator. There's a keyword called end. These are nothing but argument names. Okay, and there is a flush. Now print function. Now first we'll see value. First we'll see value, and this is a syntax, and it is having total. Okay, it is a syntax. This is a syntax here. If you see the syntax of this, okay, it is like this. Okay, there is a value, and there is a separator, and there is a end, and there is a file, and there's one more which is called as flush. So value, separator, end, file, and one more is a flush. So these are number of inputs. These are number of inputs. These are number of inputs: value, separator, end, file, and one more is what here? Flush. Okay. So just to see, first one is value. Okay, first one is a value. So print function receives. Okay, print function receives 0 or more values. So print function can print at the 0 or more values. Or I can say print function prints 0 or more values. 0 or more values. For example, in my program, I can write only print. If I'm writing only print, what will happen? Are you printing anything here? No, you're not printing anything. Okay, I'm trying to say print. I'm not printing anything in this case. I'm just writing only print. How many times I use print here? 5 times. So what will happen if I run this program? Are you printing anything? No. So print function always print. Okay, print function always print the values. After printing the values, it insert new line. After printing the values, what will happen? It will insert new line. Means I use how many print statements here? 5 print statements. It means it will insert how many new lines? 5. If I run this, now you can see how many new lines it is inserted. 5. Okay, it means if I don't print anything, actually print function always, it will print the values. So print function after printing values, print function after printing values, it insert new line. Print function after inserting values, it inserts new line. But here, are you printing any values? No. I said after printing values, it insert new line. But are you printed any values? No. So it will insert only new line. After printing values, it insert new line. But here I'm not printing anything. It just insert what here? New lines. So how many new lines it is inserted? 5. This is a simple test case. This is simple test case. Suppose if you run this program, okay, what is output? What is output of this program? Insert how many lines here? 5 lines. Insert 5 lines. So print function after printing values, it inserts new line. After printing values, it insert new line. Suppose if I'm writing print, I said 10. I'm trying to use value called which one? 10. Print 10. Okay, print 20. Okay, print 30. Print 40. And print what is that? 50. So I'm trying to use this print. How many values I sent to the print here? 1 value. How many values I sent to the print here? 1 value. So it is printed how many values here? 1 value. So after printing 1 value, it insert new line. So next value is next line. And then again next value is in next line. again next value in next line, again next value in what? Next line. After printing 10, it is inserted in new line. After printing 20, go to the new line. After printing 30, go to the new line. After printing 40, it is go to the new line. Means after printing each value, is it inserting new line or not? Yes. So now in this example, okay, in this example, I try to print how many values here? 5 values. I try to print how many values here? 5 values, and 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. But instead of using this many number of print statements, I can use only one print statement. Instead of using this many number of statements, I can use only one print statement. So 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50. So how many values I'm printing it using print function? 5 values. So instead of using 5 print statements, can I use only one print statement? Yes. I can use only one print statement to print how many values? 5 values. If I run this, you can see how many values it is printed, 5 values. So that is 10 space, 20 space, 30 space, 40 space, 50. So how many values I printed here? 5 values. But what is a separator it is used? These values are separated with what? Space. So instead of using 5 print statements, I use only one print statement. Suppose 101, okay, 101 Suresh, okay, Python, okay, Python, some A section, and this is a phase. So I try to print how many values here? 5 values, and each value is separated with what here? Comma. Each value is separated with what? Comma. But in print statement, each value is separated with what here? Space. So it means the default separator used by print is, yes, the default separator used by print is, see what is the output of this one? Okay, it is printed how many values? Each print statement. I said no, print will receive either one value or more than one value. So here I print how many values? More than one value. But print statement uses, what it uses here? Separator. So what is the default separator it is used? Space. What is the default separator used by print statement? Space. Okay, default separator. So there is a component. What is the component here? Separator. Okay. The default separator used by print function is what? Space. Default separator used by print function is what? Space. So it uses separator. It uses separator. It uses separator when print function, okay, print function prints more than one value. When it uses this separator, when print function prints, it uses this separator, but when it uses this separator, when print function prints, what here? More than one value. When print function prints more than one value, then it uses what here? Separator. But until unless it doesn't print more than one value, it doesn't use a separator. For example, see here, if I'm using only print only one value, if I print one value, will it use any separator? No, I just print 10. Suppose if I'm printing, okay, 10 comma 20 comma 30. How many values I'm printing here? 3 values. So will it use a separator? Yes, tell me, will it use a separator or doesn't use a separator? What is a separator? It uses space. What is the separator between these values here? Space. So 10 10, 20, 30, all these values are separated with what here? Space. Okay, if I'm saying print 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5, comma 6, comma 7, comma 7, comma 8, comma 9, comma 10. How many values I'm printing here? 10 values. How many values I'm printing here? 10 values. But each value is separated with what again? Space. Each value is separated with what here? Space. Okay, each value in the output it is separated with what? Space. So what is the default separator used by the print function? What is the default separator used by the print function? Space. Default separator used by print. Now suppose you don't want the space. Okay, 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5, comma 6, comma 7, comma 8, and comma 9, comma. I want to use a separator as a semicolon. I want to use a separator as what? Semicolon. So always a separator is one string. Separator is a string and string should be given in what? Single quotes or double quotes. So what is backslash n here? Now tell me, what is backslash n here? New line. What is backslash n here? New line. It means each value is separated with what here? New line. Each value is separated with a new line. Now you can see 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So all these values are after printing value 10, it insert what here? New line. After printing the value 20, it is inserted what? New line. But here I use a separator as what? Star. Here I use a separator as what? Semicolon. And here I use a separator as what? New line. So using one print statement, can I print more than one value in new line or not? Yes. Okay, so separator is used by the printer when it print more than one value. Okay, so but the default separator it uses is space. Now tell me what is the output here? If I'm writing print separator equal to semicolon comma 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50. So I just write like this. Now tell me what is the output of it? So first thing should be values are separator. First I have to write values are separator. First is what? What is the first component? In print, what is the first one? Values. What is the second one? Separator. But what I've given first here? Separator. Next, values. Is it allowed? Okay, if I press enter, now it is given what? Error. Saying that syntax error. What is the syntax error? Positional argument followed by keyword argument. Means first you have to give values and next you have to give what? Separator. I cannot give the first separator and then what? Values. I cannot give the first separator and then what? Values. So first I have to do values and then I have to give which one? Separator. Okay. Okay. But I can give only one separator. I cannot give multiple separators, right? Now, for example, if I'm saying print 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50, I use a separator as a, okay, if I use comma and semicolon, what will happen? Comma semicolon, is it this both are taken as a separator or not? Yes. So you can see 10 comma semicolon 20, 20 comma semicolon 30, 30 comma semicolon 40, 40 comma semicolon and what? 50. It means I can use how many separators? Only one separator. Even though if you give more number of separators, will it take or doesn't take? Doesn't take. Now I just write here NAT. So all these values are separated with what here? N8. Okay, so any separator you can use it. But when will you use a separator? When you print more than one value. Until unless you are not printing more than one value, you don't require to use which one? Separator. Until unless you are not printing more than one value, you don't require to use which one? Separator. Okay, right. Then next one is, now after printing values, now see, what is the first one here? Values. Okay, what is the first component? Value. What is the second component? Separator. What is the third component? E and D. E and D is there. Yeah, up to this, is it clear? Is it clear, this one up to this? Okay. Without separator, space. Default separator is what? Space. If you don't give the separator, the default separator will be space. No, that you cannot do it. That you cannot do it, Dheeraj. You cannot do that. Okay, you cannot use multiple separators, I said. Okay, no, you have to use, you cannot use multiple separators. Like as you said, first three values, comma, rest of the values, semicolon, that is not possible. Okay, right. You can give it, no problem. Okay, yes. Now, for example, now there is one more component is there. Yes. What is the next one is E and D. Okay. What is the next one here? E and D. Yes. Without space. Yes. You can use it. So this value is inserted. This value is inserted. Okay. After printing, after printing, after printing all the values. After printing all the values by print function. Okay, this value is inserted. E and D values inserted after printing all the values by which function? Print function. This value is inserted after printing all the values. This value is inserted after printing all the values by which function? Print function. Okay, that is at the end. See, generally what will happen is, if you see in detail about print function, right? If you see in detail about print function, it is like this. I'll try to put in paintbrush here. I mean, in detail. If you see in detail about this print function, it is like this. So generally, what print function will do is, so here. Okay, now this is a print function, right? So whenever you give input to the print function, see print, I said 10 comma 20 comma 30. So what print function received? How many values print function is received? 3 values. Print function is received how many values? 3 values. And these 3 values, it will convert. All these 3 values, it will convert into one value of type string. It will convert all these 3 values into how many values? One value of type string. So it will take first value and convert into string. That is nothing but 10. And this to this 10, it will add which one? Separator. What is the separator added here? Space. Then it will add one more value. What is that? 20. And then add one separator. What is the separator? Space. And add which one? 30. But actually I'm sending how many values to the print function? 3 values. But it is printing how many values here? Only one value of type which one? String. Means it is concatenating all these values. It is combining all these values by using which one? Separator. It is combining all these values by using which one? Separator into how many values? One value. It is combining all these values by using a separator into how many values? One value. And what is that one value here? Space. What is that one value here? Space. Now 10 space, 20 space, and one more is what? 30. It is combining all these values into how many values? One value, but separating with what here? Space. Okay. Now after separating the values with the space, at the end, after at the end, it is try to insert one character. What is the value of end here? Backslash n. So what it is doing? It is printing. What it is printing here? 10. Actually, print is printing 10 space 20 space 30. After printing 10, 20, 30, at the end it will insert what? New line. Means is it cursor is moved to the new line or not? Yes. Okay, so this END will be inserted. This END will be added at the end of the printing. At the end of the printing, I can say this END value is inserted at the end of printing all the values. Okay. So when I say print 10 comma 20 comma 30, what print function is doing? It is reading all these values and converting into how many values? One value. It is reading all these values and converting into how many values? Only one value. Of which type? String type. And it is concatenating all these values. It is combining all these values using one separator. What is the separator it is using? Space. So that is nothing but 10 space, 20 space, 30. And what is the character it is inserting? Backslash n. Because what is the value of end here? Backslash n. What is the value of end here? Backslash n. Okay. So what will happen in my program? That's the reason. In my program, if I'm writing 10, okay, print 10. Okay, if I'm saying print 10 and print 20. So how many values I'm printing here? Only one value. After printing 10, will it insert new line or not? Yes. Okay, after printing 20, will it insert new line or not? Yes. Okay, it means this 1020 will be printed in the same line or new line. This 1020 will be printed in the same line or in the new line? Same line. New line. Okay, new line. Now you can see 10 and after that insert a new line and then what? 20. So END will be inserted. For example, if I'm saying print 10 comma 20 comma 30. So what will happen if I run this? Okay. So it will 10 comma 20 comma 30 and again 10 comma 20 comma 30. After printing 10, 20, 30, it insert new line and again it print what? 10, 20, 30. So every statement, is it printed in the new line or not? Yes. Why? Because what is the default END used by the print function? Backslash n. The default END used by print function is backslash n. So print function always combine all these values using a separator. At the end, it will insert which value? END value. So the default END value used by the print function is backslash n. Suppose, assume that, okay, suppose I can change these values by giving argument name. Which argument you want to change it? Just give that value with what name? Argument name. Just give that values with what name? Argument name. Okay, if you want to change anything, you can change it. For example, I write here 10. After 10, I'm saying END. So what is the default END? What is the default END? Backslash N. In the place of backslash N, I'm using END equal to what here? Dot. What is the value of END here? Dot. Means after printing dot 10, after printing 10, will it insert a new line or dot? After printing 10, will it insert new line or dot? Dot. It will not insert new line. It will insert which one? Dot. You can see 10 dot, 10 dot, but next it is printed what? 20. So why? Because after printing 10, suppose if I don't write this, after printing 10, it will insert what? New line. Then 20 will be inserted in the new line or in the same line? New line. 20 will be printed in the same line or in the new line? New line. But here, after printing 10, I don't want to insert a new line. After printing 10, I want to insert which one? Dot. Means after printing 10, will it insert new line or will it insert dot? Dot. Then 20 will be printed in the same line or in the new line? Same line. So that is nothing but 10 dot 20. And after printing 20, will it insert new line or dot? New line. After printing 10, 20, 30, will it insert new line or dot? New line. After printing 10, 20, 30, will it insert new line or dot? New line. Suppose if I'm writing here, END equal to semicolon. Then what will happen now? After printing 10, it will insert which one? Dot. And then it will print which one? 20. After printing 20, will it insert new line or semicolon? Semicolon. In the same line, it will print what? 10, 20, 30. So what will be the output? Tell me. What is the output? Tell me. What is the output? Output is what? 10 dot 20 semicolon 10 space 20 space 30. After that, new line or in the same line? New line. In the new line, it will print 10, okay, space 20 space 30. So END always get inserted after printing all the values. END get inserted after printing all the values. Now you can see 10 dot 20, and after that you can see semicolon, and then 10 space 20 space 30, and after that new line, and then again 10 space 20 space, what is that? 30. Inserting new line. Try to understand this here. Okay, so END get inserted at the end of printing all the values. Okay, right. Now, so these are basic examples of working with the print function. Okay, print function. Now tell me, what is the output of this program? Okay, print 10, comma 20, comma 30. Separator is a star. Okay, comma END equal to semicolon. Okay, and print 1, comma 2, comma 3, and separator is a semicolon, or separator is a colon, and END equal to dot. Now tell me what is output here. Tell me what is output. Okay, 10 star, 20 star, 30, 30, semicolon, 1, colon, 2, colon, 3, dot, 3 dot. So 10 star, 20 star, 30. At the end it will print what? Semicolon. Then 1 colon, 2 colon, 3 colon. At the end it will put what? Dot. So after printing these three values, it will put what here? Dot. Okay. Yes. So this will be the output of this code or not? Yes. Now once you run this, now you can see 10 star, 20 star, 30, semicolon, 1 colon, 2 colon, 3, followed by which one again? Dot. You can see 10 star, 20 star, 30, and there's a semicolon and 1 colon, 2 colon, 3, and followed by which one? Dot. Okay. Now this is END and one more is what? Separator. Okay. And there is one more component you have, that is what here? File. So print function, it will receive the values. Print function, it will receive the values. And after receiving the values, where will it print all these values? Where it is printing all these values? See, print function, where it is printing all these values? On a console. See here, print function, this function is used to display or print data or information on which one? Console. Console, or what is that? Monitor. And this function is having how many components? 5 components. What is the first component? Values. What is the second one? Separator. What is the third one? END. What is the fourth one? File. What is the fifth one? Flush. Okay. So where it is printing all these values? In one file. What is the name of the file? std out. What is the name of the file here? std out. So file, every device is treated as a file. Next component is a file. So every device is one file. Every device is one file. So here std out stands for standard output device file. Standard output device. Okay. And this standard output device is called as which one here? Console. The standard output device is called as which one here? Console. std out is a predefined object, exists in a sys module. Okay, sys module. Where this std out is exist in sys module. Sys is a predefined module. Sys is a predefined. Sys is what your predefined module. Sys is a predefined module, and inside this module there is one object. What is the name of this object here? std out. Within sys module there is one object. What is the name of the object? std out. std out is the name of the object. std out is a predefined object, exists in which module? Sys module. And sys is which module here? Predefined module. And std out is a file object. std out is which object here? File object. Is a file object which hold address of console file. Which hold address of which one? Console file. std out is a file object. std out is which object here? File object. And which hold the address of which file? Console file. Which holds the address of console file. So what is the meaning of this is, just see here, what is the meaning of this is, so print function, you're writing like this, print, okay, 10 comma 20 comma 30. So what print function is doing? It is receiving these values. Okay, it is receiving all these values. And after receiving all these values, it is combining all these values using a separator into one string. And at the end, it is inserting what here? New line. And this value, okay, this particular value, it is printing. This value, it is printing in which one? One file. It is printing this value inside one file. Okay, I can use a print function to print inside one file. And what is the name of that file object? std out. And std out is a object name. Okay, std out is a object name, and this std out is a variable, and it holds the address of which object? File object. Like suppose if I'm saying a equal to 10, a is hold which object? Integer object. What is the name of the object here? A. And what is the name of this object here? std out. And this std out hold the address of this std out hold the address of which one? Console. This std out hold the address of which one? Console. So what is this file object name here? Console. Actually, name of this file is console, C-O-N. Okay, you can say console. Now this file object hold the address of which one? Console. It is called as a stream through which you send the data. It is a stream through which you send the data. It is just like a pipe. Now what print function is doing? It is printing this particular value. It is printing this value where it is printing to? Console. It is printing in one object inside one file. What is that file here? Console. What is the default file used by the print function? std out. And that std out represents what here? Console. Okay, that is standard output device. Now in the place of console, can I print in any other file? Yes. In the place of console, can I print in any other file? Yes. Now I don't want to print on a console, but I want to print in my own file. I don't want to print on a console. I want to print in my own file. But what is the default file used by the print function? Console. So see, we can change the separator. In the place of separator, I use a separator in the place of space. Can I use a separator as a comma or not? Yes. In the place of END \n, can I use my own END or not? Yes. In the place of this file, what is the default file? std out. In the place of std out, can I create my own file object and print? Yes. Can I create my own file object and print? Yes. I can create my own file object and I can print it. I can create my own file object and what? I can print it. In the place of this, can I create my own file object and print it? Yes. I can create my own file object and I can print it. So what I can do is, I'm creating my own file object. Just try to understand this code here. Generally, you can create a file by using one function called open. Just try to understand, but you learn this in files again. You learn this again in files, but just try to understand. You can create one file. You can create one file by using a function called which one? Open. Open. Which file you want to open? Just give the name of the file. So I want to create one file. What is the file I want to create is some file 1. What is the name of the file I want to create? File 1. And inside this file, I'm writing it. W means what here? Write. So I try to open this file in which mode? Write mode. Okay, I try to open this file. What is the name of the file? File 1. I try to open this file in which mode? Write mode. And what is the name of this file object is? Some F. What is the name of the object here? F. Okay, then what I'm doing is I'm trying to say print. Okay, print 10, comma 20, comma 30. So where this 10, 20, 30 is printed by default, this 10, 20, 30 is printed in which file? std out. std out. If I'm saying here print, okay, 10, comma 20, comma 30 file equal to which one? F. Where this 10, 20, 30 is printed now? In F. F is nothing but which object? File 1. So first 10, 20, 30 is printed on what? Console. And second 20, 20, 30 is printed in which one? File 1. First 10, 20, 30 is printed in on which one? Console. But second 10, 20, 30 is printed in which object? File object. What is the name of that file object? F. What is the name of that file object here? F. Now if you run this, how many outputs you'll get on the console? Two outputs are only one output. Two outputs are only one output. First output is where? Console. Second output is where? Which file? File 1. Okay, which file? File 1. So on console, how many outputs I'll get? On console, how many outputs I'll get? 1. On console, I get only one output, but another output I'll get inside what? File 1. So first print statement is print on a console, but second print statement is printing inside what? File. What is the name of that file? File 1. If you run this now, first print statement output is on console, but second print statement output is where? Inside a file. What is the name of this file? File 1. But where this file is created in? It is created in your current folder. What is the current working folder? Python 7 AM. Okay, just open now. This is a file. Open this file. Where is my folder? Is on desktop. Open this file. What is the name of this file? File 1. I can open this in the notepad. Open with. Okay, open with. I just select notepad. But this file is having any data? No, this file is what? Empty. Why? Because whenever it do input and output operations, it will do this input and output operations through one buffer. Through what? One buffer. Buffer. It means whenever you print, it will print first this data inside which one? Buffer. And from buffer, it will flush. From buffer, it will flush into which one? File. So first it will write everything inside what? Buffer. And from buffer, it will write also onto which one? Console. But what is the default flush here? False. If the flush is false, it will be there inside what? Buffer. But it will not write on onto which one? Console. If you want to flush, general meaning of flush is empty. So just pulling or pushing forward, right? Now, once you say flush, whatever data is there in the buffer, that data will be written inside what? Console. But whenever I use a print statement, okay, whenever I use a print statement, what is the default flush? False. Then in order to flush from where? Buffer into the file. From buffer into the file, I have to use here flush equal to which one? True. So if I run this code, first statement output is on the console, but second statement output is where? File. Just open this file again. So what is the name of the file? File 1. If you open this file 1, can you see the output here? What is the output? 10, 20, 30. 10, 20, 30. It means print function is used to print in any file. So that can be predefined file. What is a predefined file here? What is a predefined file here? std out. But what is a user defined file here? What is a user defined file here? F. What is a user defined file here? F. So F represent my file or not? Yes. What is my file name? File 1. If I'm trying to say print, okay, print Suresh, okay, print Suresh Python, print Suresh Python 4000.0. Now, where will it print these values? Where will it print these values on console or inside my file? Console. Because are you given any file here? No. So it will print on a console. If I'm right to write print, okay, print Ramesh, okay, print Ramesh Java 2000.0 file equal to F. Now, where will it write this data? In the file. Which file? File 1. But file 1 is already having some data or not? Yes. Will it, that data will be lost or not? Yes. Because this open write every time it will create one new file, right? Okay, now you can see 10, 20, 30 Suresh Python 4000. Just open this file 1. Just try to understand. We can use a file, I mean, we can use a print function to print inside one file. Now you can see, but is it printed or not printed? Not printed, right? Why? Flush is there. Flush. Flush equal to which one? True. Flush is a true. Now just run this. What is the name of this file? File 1. Open this file. Now you can see 10, 20, 30 Ramesh Java 2000. Right? Okay. So this is print components. So print is having total how many components? 5 comma. What is the first one? Value. What is the second one? Separator. What is the third one? END. What is the fourth one? File. What is the fifth one? Flush. Okay, fifth one is a flush. Example. But files concept, again you learn, don't worry about files, but just try to understand. Print function is used to print inside one file. But what is the default file it uses? std out. In the place of std out, can I use my own file name or not? Yes. Can I use my own file name or not? Yes. Okay. So what is the next one you have here? Flush. The value of flush is what? False. So print function. So print function, okay, prints after printing, print function right inside a file, right inside a file using buffer. Buffer is a temporary space. Okay, buffer is a temporary space. Print function right inside a file. So that is a default, no? Default, that is a default. Vishwavardhan. That is the default. Because of that, yes, that is a default. Default means, see, if you don't give it inside the print function, there is a logic. Inside the print function, there is a logic to change that value from true to false to false true true. So inside the function, you have that logic. Okay. Yes. So print function right inside a file using a buffer. Okay. Print function right inside a file using buffer. From buffer to write inside file, we have to use flush value as flush value as what here? True. Until unless you don't say flush equal to true, these values are not right from buffer into what? File. Okay. These values are not right from buffer into file. Okay, right? Then next one is, now this is the output function. This is the output function which you are using it to perform which operations? Output operations. So you are using this to perform which operations? Output operations. Okay. Yes. If you want your program should print anything, your program, in ideally you don't require to use which function? Print function, because ideally itself is printing values or not. Yes. Then next is, for example, I said A equal to 10 and B equal to what here? 20 and C equal to what? A plus what? B. And after that I print A value, B value and what? C value. So I try to print the value of A, I try to print the value of B, I try to print the value of which one? C. How many values I printed here? Three values, right? So what will happen if I run this program? Now tell me what is the output of this? A value is what? 10, B value is a 20, C value is what? 30. A plus B. Is it print all these three values in one line or new line? One line. Okay. Now I run this. Now 10, 20, 30. But are you given values during runtime or within the program? AB values are given within the program or at runtime? Values are given for AB within the program or at runtime? Within the program. A value is given within the program, B value is also given within the program. When I run this program, it is just printed 10, 20 and what is that? 30. But are you giving any value during runtime? No. You are not giving value during what? Runtime. But I want to give the value of A and B at what? Runtime. I don't want to give the values within the program. I don't want to give the values within the program. I want to give the values at what? Runtime. I want to give the value of A at runtime, the value of B at what? Runtime. If you want to give the values at runtime, I take the help of one function called which one? Input. Okay, it is similar to scanf in C language. It is similar to scanf in what? C language. In C, how can you read the data from keyboard using scanf? But here I am using which function? Here I am using which function? Input function. Input function, I'm using it to input the values during what? Runtime. If I run this program, now, it is asking to input which value? A value. I try to input A value. A value is 45. So means I'm trying to give the value for A. I'm giving the value of A at what? Runtime. But is it values given within the program? No. It means my program is static or dynamic? Dynamic. My program behavior is dynamic because I'm giving values during runtime. So I've given the value of A is 45 and the value of B is 67. So 45 is assigned to the variable A and 67 is assigned to the variable what here? B. So the value of A is 45, the value of B is what? 67. Then will it add these two values or not? Yes. Okay, so input, always input function read the values as a string type. Now you can see what is the value of A? 45. What is the value of B? 67. What is the value of C? Now see 45 plus 67, it should be what? 100. 45 plus 67 should be how much here? 114. 11, 112, 112, 112. But is it displayed 112 or 45, 67? 45, 67. It means, is it adding or combining? Combining it. Why? Because the values what you input, using input function, these values are which type here? String type. The values what you input using input function, these values are treated as which type? String type. What is a A10? What is the value of which type? String. What is the value of B20? It is a value of which type? String. A is a string and B is also what? String. And when you apply plus operator on strings, if you apply plus operator on strings, what it is doing? Addition or concatenation? Concatenation. Is it doing addition or concatenation? Concatenation, but I want to do what? Addition. What I have to do? Convert. You have to convert these values from strings to what? Integers. So input is a predefined function. Yes. Is it print function is clear, right? All these five components. Okay. So print is having total how many components? Five components. What is the first one? Values. What is the second one? Separator. Third one is END. Fourth one is file. Fifth one is flush. So print receive how many values? Any number of values. And how it print more than one value using separator. What is the default separator? Space. What is the default END? \n. What is the default file? std out. What is the default flush? Flush. So print function receive all the values and convert into which type? String type. And by adding all the values by using a separator, and at the end it will insert what? END value and then print inside a file. If you want to read anything, if you want to input anything from keyboard during runtime, you take the help of another function. And what is that another function here? Input function. Okay, input. Yes. Now let us talk about input function. Input is a predefined function in Python. Input is a predefined function in Python. Why we are using this function? To input. Input is nothing but reading or writing. Input means reading or writing. Reading. Input means reading. Output means writing. How can you write it? Using print. How you read it? By using input. Reading is done using input. Writing is done using print. So input is a predefined function in Python, and this function is exists. This function is exist inside which module? Built-ins module. Built-ins module. Are you importing this built-ins module? To use this input function, are you importing any built-ins module? No. I'm not using any built-ins module. For example, yes, I'm not using any built-ins module. What is this? Before executing print function, it is executed add statement. Add statement, not print statement, no? This is add statement or print statement? This is add statement or print statement? Then add statement will do add only. Why it will print? If you don't say print, it will not print here. Or what is this? It is add statement, no? If it add statement, it will add it. Why it will print it? That is what I said that time onwards. No, in program, until you don't say print, it will not print it. In next line, you are printing A value, B value, C value. What is the problem? In next line, you are printing A value, B value, C value. What is A value? The value what you input. B value, what is the value input? Three values, where are you? Three values are there, 10, 20, 10, 20. Where are you here? Just see here. Okay, don't move there and here. So A value is 10, B value is 20, C value is what? This is C value only, no? What is C value? That is what I explained, no? Why it is printing 45, 67? 45 plus 67. 10 plus 20 is what? 10, 20. Because these values are which type? Because these values are which type? Array, what here? I think you moved somewhere and come back again. I think you just moved. Okay, you missed that one. That point you missed. You went somewhere. You went somewhere and come back. Sit at one place and listen. Okay. No. Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay. Yes. Input is a predefined function in Python, and this function is exists in which module? Built-ins module. Okay, built-ins module, and it is a default module. So if I want to use anything from this module, I don't require to import anything. It is a default module imported by any Python program. This function is used to read data from which one? Keyboard. Okay, this function is used to read data from keyboard during what? Runtime. This function is used to input values during runtime. This function is used to input value, to input value, during what? Runtime. This function read value from keyboard. This function read value from keyboard, and return that value as which type? String type. So input function read the values of which type? Input function read value of which type? String type. Means input function can read only which type of values? Input function can read only which type of values? String values. Input function can read only which type of values? String values. Input function can read the which type of values? Only string values. Input function is able to read which type of values? Only string values, but cannot read any other type of value. It can read only string values, but cannot read any other values. Okay, it can read the values of type string, but cannot read any other type of values. Okay, now yes, but how many values it can read? Only one value. Input function can read only one value. Input function can read only how many values it can read? Only one value, but cannot read more than one value. Input function can read only one value, and it can read the value of which type? String type. Okay, now right. So tomorrow we'll see in detail on this. What is a input function is? Okay, today we have seen, because throughout Python you'll use print function, and you must know what is print function is, right? Okay, tomorrow I'll tell you how to work with the input function, and even we'll start working with the operators. Okay, yes, we'll stop it here today, and tomorrow we'll continue, right? Thank you.